Hey there, hope you're doing well. If you're anything like me as a photographer, then you are booking all kinds of shoots all the time. When I first started out, I was doing all kinds of shoots, and most of them that I didn't have any experience with at all. Car shoots were one of those. So I want to share with you an in-depth guide of what I've learned shooting cars over the years. Before we start, I want to mention that all of this is really just my opinion, and none of it should be heard as me trying to impose any kind of rule on you, but these are just a few helpful things to keep in mind before you go out and start shooting. First, let's talk about your gear. When it comes to car photos, there's nothing you absolutely need to have, but there are some things that will just make your life a little bit easier. First of those things being a circular polarizing filter, or a CPL. What this is a filter that threads into the end of your lens, and it eliminates most, if not all, reflections in your images. It significantly reduces reflections, and this is something that is super helpful shooting cars. Cars, as you know, unless they're wrapped in some kind of matte wrap, are reflective paint. They've got reflective paint all over them. The windows are reflective with the tint and laminate. There's just reflections out the wazoo on a car. So having a circular polarizing filter helps eliminate some of those really bright reflections of the sky or surrounding lights, and really just lets you see the paint, and it helps darken up the windows. It's really nice to have a CPL, not necessary, but if you're looking to shoot a lot of cars, I highly recommend getting one because it's just a small detail that takes your images up to the next level. When it comes to lenses, I mostly stick to prime lenses shooting cars, my favorite being the 85mm f1.4. I think it's just a fantastic lens for any kind of car photo shoot, and that's the one I use the most. Now, the last thing I would suggest bringing with you is a tripod. This isn't necessary if you're shooting kind of in the middle of the day or even afternoon into the evening, but as it starts to get darker and you're shooting maybe downtown where there's street lights but not a whole lot else, having a tripod is super helpful. Late evening and nighttime car photography benefits the most from a tripod because you can set your camera on the tripod and bring your shutter speed down really low to let plenty of light in the camera while maintaining a low ISO value, and you don't have any motion blur because the car is probably not moving and your hands aren't holding it, so your hands aren't shaking. Having a tripod, if you're a nighttime car photographer or just somebody who enjoys doing nighttime stuff in general, I would highly recommend. All right, you packed your gear bag. Let's move on to planning. When it comes to car photos, location, location, location. This is one of the most important things shooting cars. Having a location that works with the car and complements it in a way is going to drastically change the quality of your images. You want to select an environment that's going to complement the car in an interesting way or provide an interesting element to the shoot. So something like a cool overhang, cool balcony, cool arches, buildings surrounding it that provide good leading lines or symmetry, things like that. Things that will add to your images, things that you can use in the environment to create a cool frame. A good rule of thumb for it is to take the lifestyle of the kind of car into account when picking a location. This means shooting a luxury sports car in like a downtown urban environment, or an SUV or a truck in the woods or in a field. Take what the car is meant to do into account when picking a location, because that's just gonna make sense. Those are basic, easy combos to spot, but I see enough sports cars and luxury cars shot in fields that I feel like it's something I should mention. You can even get a little bit more advanced with location selection by picking somewhere with a complementary or same color as the car, something that accents the color of the car. Really advanced and difficult to do in most situations, but if you got the opportunity, I highly recommend it. That's gonna create a very cohesive and interesting frame. In your planning, you should also take into account the lighting. As with other styles and kinds of photography, I don't find that the soft golden hour light is absolutely necessary on cars. One of my favorite shoots I did, and it was like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Shooting cars in bright sunlight really makes the paint pop. There's just something about seeing a brightly colored car in bright sunlight that it just works. So The lighting is important and you want to think about it, but you don't have to go for that golden hour look every time. And it really might add to your photos if you don't. Go for a nighttime shoot, go for a middle of the day, early morning shoot. You know, spice it up a little bit. Figure out what you think is gonna look the best with that car and go for that. All right, so now you have your gear, you got the location, and it's time to actually go and do the shoot. This is the most fun part, and it's really the easiest part in my opinion. Now, every car is different. Generally, the process stays the same. And for my process, I always start by posing the car. This is simply getting the car into a spot you think is gonna be the best for the photos. Now, I know I said shooting is the easiest, but posing is always the hardest part for me. For some reason, I kind of get this creative block when it comes to posing a car. It doesn't happen every time, but sometimes it really does, and it takes me a couple of tries. Just gotta pose it. I don't like it. Pose it again. I don't like it. Pose it again. Ah, there we go. We found something we can work with. It's just kind of how it goes sometimes. It frequently takes me a couple of tries to get the posing of the car right in a way that I feel like I can work with it. Posing always depends on the location you pick for the shot. Like I say, location, location, location. But a good starting place for posing is a 3/4 shot. The 3/4 shot is a safe bet always. It's a good baseline and it's a good place to start warming up for the car shoot. I always find my best images come from the middle towards the end of the shoot. Sometimes I get a couple lucky ones at the beginning, but I have to warm up. I always have to warm up. And a 3/4 shot is a good way to do that and still get an image that is usable. It's a solid photo. The 3/4 shot is a great shot for a wide photo and it just always looks solid. So I recommend starting with a 3/4 and then moving on from there once you kind of get in the groove, get into the flow of shooting. So from the 3/4 shot, I will usually shoot all of my wide shots. Now, when I say wide shots, I don't necessarily mean shooting with like 16 mil or 35 mil or something like that. I don't necessarily mean a wide lens. I just mean a shot that has the whole car in frame. And often my wide shots are not a wide lens at all. They're most of the time my 85 millimeter, and I just back way up and include as much as I can in the frame. And then after those wide shots, I'll move in close, shoot some details, the steering wheel, badges, the shift knob, brake calipers, just anything interesting about the car. They might have some cool stickers on there, some cool user mods, that kind of thing. So shoot the cool details of the car, try and paint somebody a whole picture of the car, all the little nooks and crannies that are cool and interesting about this vehicle. And a little tip for shooting detail shots, it's really nice in detail shots to add a little bit of depth, because sometimes you're taking a picture of something that is a little bit boring. But if you use something that can add a little bit of depth, like a foreground element or shooting through something, giving you a little bit of blur, a little bit of depth, that's gonna really make those detail shots more interesting. That's how I could shoot some of these photos of this mom car and still make them decently interesting. A really good example of adding some depth to a detail shot is one of my favorite shots, shooting the steering wheel through the open door. For this shot, all you've got to do is open up the driver's side door a little bit, get down and shoot through, including some of that door in your frame, focusing on the steering wheel. It's a great shot, it always looks good, and if you're shooting a cool car, the steering wheel is an important part of that. It's the part of the car the driver is gonna see the most, so give somebody that experience. After the detail shots, I'll usually return to more wide shots, but instead of just getting kind of the bread and butter wide shots, I'll try and do something a little bit different. I will really flex my creative muscles as best I can, moving the car around the environment and the location a little bit and trying to create something new and different as best I possibly can. Get a photo that somebody could say, man, I wouldn't have thought to take that. Trying new things and being okay with moving the car around is something I really had to force myself to do. For whatever reason, I went into car photography thinking that if I didn't get the posing right on the first try, that people are gonna think I don't know what I'm doing. And they might, but who cares? If the images are better because you move the car, then do it. Not everything is gonna look exactly as you hoped it would, and being okay with being wrong is something that's valuable across more things than just photography. Be wrong, move on, and make great photos. It was a great shoot. Now it's on to post-production, the photo editing. Now, editing car photos is a whole nother animal that I have covered separately in a different video. So if you're really interested in learning how I edit car photos, then please check out that video. So that's it. You've shot the car, the photos look great, hopefully the owner's really happy with them, and you've done some learning in the process. And that's always what we want to do, is we want to learn as we go, figure things out, try and do it better the next time. Thank you very much for watching. I really hope this was helpful. I hope you learned something from it, and I hope it made your car shoot go really well. Give the video a like if you like, and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys later.